we discussed about database life cycle, implementation life cycle, which goes with 3 stages as it: designing, development, production. 3. In designing stage, what are their responsibilities? We as developer, our course is development course, so the developer, what are their responsibilities? And once data enters into production, then database administrator will maintain that database. What are his responsibilities? DBA responsibilities. Last session I made a list of all these as basic concepts of database, how it is implemented in IT industry for different projects. Okay, the designing stage, a person who is responsible for designing a database, he is actually called database architect. Development stage, developer will be responsible. And for production stage, that is for production database administrator, DBA, he is responsible for few things. Right. This was like basic stuff we discussed. Today is our first session where we are going to see introduction to Oracle. Yes, today's class will be for introduction to Oracle. Let me save this as intro ORCL. Okay. Now, especially when it comes to introduction of Oracle, there are some important points that we will learn, especially in this introduction. What is it? First point I highlight 4 things in it. What are they? Oracle is a product of Oracle Corporation, introduced in the year 1977 as Oracle 1.0 version. Yes. 4 things we highlighted. What are they? Okay. First is product name. Second is company name, whose product it is. In the year 1977 as Oracle 1.0 version. Yes, 4 things we highlighted. Name of the product, whose product, when it is introduced, by what name it is introduced. By what name it is introduced. All the points have been highlighted. Now, when Oracle was introduced in 1977, people have not, felt the importance of Oracle. People did not find that software to be perfect and to maintain database information. So it was there, but it could not leave its identity, or it could not leave its recognition in market. So what Oracle Corporation has done is, in 1979, Oracle 2.0 was released and it became the first commercial relational database, also called first SQL database. It means from 1970, in 1979, when Oracle Corporation introduced Oracle 2.0, it has become, or it has left its identification perfect in, it has left its recognition in market. People started identifying, people started feeling the best way, or one of the good ways of maintaining what database information. That is the reason there are many authors, there are many websites, they don't talk about 1977 because it was there, but people have not accepted it. People have not felt importance of it. So they only sometimes say that Oracle introduced in 1979. They talk about only 2.0. 1.0 they don't talk. Why? 1.0 was there, but it was not found to be that best than 2.0. Or even it could not find a best way of maintaining data in Oracle with 1.0. So immediately Oracle Corporation started working on 2.0 and then it released a new version, that's 2.0. From there, people started identifying Oracle as one good database to manage your information. Similarly, another part that we learn is Oracle is always used as Oracle is used as backend. Oracle is used as what? Backend. Right? This is only for your reference now. Why I use this word backend and a comparative term to it, front end. Backend, when I use a word which is not visible for us, it works in background, backend, which is not visible, background. Let me just give an example, like, so that you can understand what do you mean by backend. You know, you all might have registered for your personal email account onto some domain. Like you might have registered for your email ID on Gmail, or it is on Hotmail, or it is in Yahoo, or it is in Rediff Mail. So you might have registered on some domain. Now, when you want to have your email ID, so that particular company will ask you to fill up a registration form. So if you're trying to have Gmail account, so it will ask you to provide registration information: first name, middle name, last name, date of birth, your occupation, studies, right, gender, date of birth, all this it will ask. And when you click OK, then your all information is stored in that company's database. Can you see the database? No. Do you know where the database is? No. Do you know which database in which database your data is stored? No. Only we are sure for one thing, that data is stored. That's it. Where it is stored, how it is stored, in what way it is stored. Why? Because today you registered, tomorrow you want to change your profile. Yes, you ask your connect to your account, open your profile, edit your profile. Yesterday, whatever data you submitted, the same thing is made available for you. You can edit those changes. Means the data which you filled last day, if you are in a position to look into it today, it means that your data is stored somewhere in the database. There's a reason it is available for your editing. It's available for your future reference. Okay, so that is what Oracle is used always as what backend. Next thing that we study is initial versions of Oracle were Rdbms. Initial versions of Oracle. They all were what? Rdbms. Especially from this version, from Oracle 8i and later versions are ORDBMS. So you know about both the things. I just still write for your reference. RDBMS, Relational Database Management Systems. And similarly, when I use this ORDBMS, it is Object Relational Database Management Systems. Yes. So from which version they have become ORDBMS? From 8i. Then one more important thing that we learn is Oracle is client server technology. Yes. When I use this word client server technology, you have to understand one important factor for this. One important point connecting to this. What is it? Now you know, for practice purpose, we install Oracle on single machine. We install Oracle on what? Single machine. So for practice purpose, even you will install your even when you install your Oracle software, that will be obviously in your personal computer. For practice purpose, I'm saying. Even when we start practical, since Oracle is already installed for me, it's there in my machine now. So what is this then? Obviously, for me, my laptop itself is a client. My laptop itself is a server because I'm talking about client server technology. Same machine as client, same machine as server. But what they do, and in which OS you use, which OS you use, obviously for me it is my Windows 10. If you have Windows 8, you install it on Windows 8. If you have Windows 7, install it on Windows 7. That doesn't matter. But in real time, when they install Oracle, it is compulsory or it is made available on Linux operating system. They install it on Linux OS. Where do they install? On Linux operating system. Okay. So where do they install? On Linux operating system. And then you can find on Linux operating system when you install Oracle, obviously that machine in which your Linux operating system exists, and in that machine when you install your Oracle, so obviously that would be your Oracle server machine. And to that server machine, clients from various systems can be connected to server. Okay, so that is client server technology, where they install Oracle on server machine, and that will be shared and accessed by various other users from other machines as clients. As a clients. That's what I meant to say, client server technology. And another important thing is Oracle can be installed on any OS, on any operating system. Connecting with this, we learn another important point. Initially, Oracle was CUI, character user interface. And especially from this version, which version? Oracle 11G, and later, whatever the other versions we had, it has become GUI, graphical user interface, user friendly. This is one part. Now we will learn one more important thing, and that is Oracle is provided with database engine. Yes, Oracle is provided with what now? Database engine. And in this, especially when I use this word database engine, connecting with it will write something important now. What is it? Oracle is expanded as. What it is expanded as now? Last E is the E. E is engine. E represents the engine. L is there. L, logical engine. Such an engine that supports to perform logical operations. Logical engine. A, C is there. A is arithmetic or analytical. C, calculations or computing. Yes. AC has two expansions. Either you call as analytical computing or you call as arithmetic calculation. Arithmetic calculations or analytical computing. What type of engine? Logical engine. And is OR is, you call it as department, you call it as a place, or you call it as a name given to your development where the software has been introduced. We got different points on this OR. What is OR? It's called Oak Ridge. Yes, this is how Oracle is expanded as. Now, Keeping this introduction in view, let me list out versions of Oracle. Yes, and this is only for your reference. From the first version of Oracle till latest, everything I'll make a list, a big list will come, so that these all things will be only for a reference. Depending on the year, version is introduced, except few when Oracle name has changed. But there it will have a small difference, otherwise rest of all easy to remember. As we already said, 1977. 1977, Oracle 1.0 was introduced. 1979, Oracle 2.0 was released. And what is it called? First SQL database. Then 1983, they have come up with Oracle 3.0. 1984, they have come up with Oracle 4.0. 1985, they have come up with Oracle 5.0. Now here makes one difference. 1988, they have come up with Oracle 6.0. 1992, they have come up with Oracle 7.0. Which year it is? 1992. Then 1997, they have come up with Oracle 8.0. 1999, they have come up with Oracle 8i. 8i. Then in 2000, they have come up with Oracle 9i release 1 it is. Then 2001, Oracle 9i release 2. 2001 it is. 9i release 2. Then what we learn here is, then what we learn here is, then what we learn is 2003. After 9i release to 2003, Oracle 10G release 1. 2005, then we say Oracle 10G release 2 was introduced. Okay, then 2007 or yeah, 2007, yeah, Oracle 11G release 1 is introduced. Then exactly after 2 years of it, 2009, they have come up with Oracle 11G release 2 was introduced. Then after 2013, they have come up with Oracle 12C release 1 is introduced. In 2016, they have come up with Oracle 12C release 2. Then after that, 2 years, their own versions like Oracle 18C 2019, and that was Oracle 19. Latest is 19C. Now in all these versions, let's highlight these things. I internet related features. G, grid computing technology. C, cloud computing technology. Yes, that is the identification of these three terms, I, G, and C. Internet features, grid computing technology, and cloud computing technology. And specially make this point when it is connected with versions of Oracle. Here we learn Oracle 1.0 to 7.0. They all were Rdbms. Then from Oracle 8.0 to 19C latest, they all are ORDBMS. And as I already said, ORDBMS is nothing but RDBMS plus object oriented features. Yes. 1.0 to 7.0, they all come under RDBMS. 8.0 to 19C, they all come under ORDBMS. And what is the ORDBMS? Is combination of RDBMS plus object-oriented features. The question that arises is, among all these versions, which version of Oracle we are going to learn, which version of Oracle we are going to install, on which we make a practice of Oracle. So I preferred to make the practical implementation of our Oracle on something called this version we planned, Oracle 12C release 1. Reason why I made a choice, why I opted for this, like why Oracle 12C? Because Oracle 12C, I have the enterprise edition of it. Enterprise edition. If you download the Oracle software from Oracle Corporation's website, latest you will get, no doubt. Latest version you will get from their website, but it will be Express edition you will get. Express edition is a free edition, free. You can download, but many things are restricted in that edition. Many commands of Oracle doesn't work. Database size is restricted. Maximum things of Oracle may not be available. So Express edition, instead of making work on latest, but maximum commands are not implemented or worked in it. So instead of going that, it's preferred to go with what? Preferred to go with what? Yes. So we, after me, 12C release 1 is available. The same software I'll be sharing with you through Google Drive, along with the steps, the way you have to install your product, along with screenshots available in that document. Software plus that installation process document, both I'll share with you so that you can install the product and keep it ready, because when we start our practical sessions, you could have those things for your reference. Yeah. Any questions you have, you can ask me. Nikhil, Vijaya, Omar, Pravina, any queries you have? There's a chat panel available in your application. You can just use that. Confirm me for it so that we'll go with the next part. Okay, Nikhil. Okay, Pravina. Yeah. Vijay, any questions you have? Omar, am I audible to you, Omar? Can you hear me? No, no, no. I will share the software. When I share my software through Google Drive, then you download that. Now, if you download that from Oracle Corporation website, you'll get Express Edition, I'm saying. You don't download. I myself will share the software with you. I already mentioned very clear reason why I'm going with why am I going with what? 12C. Just now I mentioned that reason also. This one. Why I planned or why am I going with the 12C? Because that I have with me is Enterprise Edition I have. I have what? Enterprise Edition. That is the reason I opted to go for it. But if you download it from Oracle Corporation website, 19C also you'll get, but not Enterprise Edition. You'll get Express Edition because for Enterprise Edition you have to make credit card payment. That would go in lakhs of rupees. I would suggest you to go in that way. It's better you make yourself convenient to go with your practice on the shared software so that once you get knowledge on the way you make use of Oracle 12C, the way Oracle 12C works, the way it supports us to implement, so that when you start your practical sessions, we will go with regular implementations of database concept using what you call 12C. But in future, when we have some new feature to learn, I'll compare in 18 something which is not possible in 12C that may be possible in 18C. At least you know what is Oracle 12C, how the environment is, how you work on it. So tomorrow if I change that to 19C, then definitely even if I explain theoretically, you can understand at least by correlating it, how it is there in 18C, how it is made available with 19C, new changes. That's it. This is what we have introduction of Oracle along with all the versions of Oracle that we have for it. Next, we are going to learn something about editions of Oracle 12C. Yes. What are the different editions we have for Oracle 12C? Just write them. And one more important thing, these all things actually for developer not needed. Because that is actually a work of database administrator. He's the one who installs the software. He's the one who makes the installation of software with client server technology. So as a developer, you don't need to know all this stuff. This is only for your reference. I'm not going to explain you how it makes a difference of all these additions. Not needed at all. Still, just as a developer, even if you're trying for a job on the basis of experience, you should know at least what about the addition. Only that numbers on the list I'll give you. That's it. One we have Oracle database standard edition. This is one we have, right? Similarly, one more we have is connecting with the same one I'm saying, Oracle database standard edition 1, 3, Oracle database standard edition 2, 4, Oracle, then we have database enterprise edition, Oracle database enterprise edition. Just 1 second, just 1 second. Right. So here, Oracle database, which edition? Enterprise edition. Oracle database, enterprise edition. Plus what? Again, we have fifth one, Oracle database express edition, which is free, and you call as Oracle XE. Sixth one is Oracle database personal edition, which is called Oracle P. These are the editions available for Oracle. So which one we are going to use? This one, Enterprise Edition. We are going to work with what? Enterprise Edition. That's it. Tomorrow's class I am going to talk on Oracle database version and release. Yeah, this difference we will learn. What is the difference between version and what is the difference and how it is different with the release? Because even especially for experienced profile, this matters. This matters a lot because they even focus like what terms you are using, what you are explaining them, because they ask like on which version of Oracle which version of Oracle you have learned, or on which release of Oracle you have learned or you have implemented. So the terms are important for version and release. Tomorrow's class, I'll talk on that in detail, and after that we'll go to next theoretical part. Probably 1 or 2 sessions more we required, and after that we'll be entering into our practical sessions of Oracle. Okay, everyone. Okay, then. Fine, Vijaya. Nikhil, tomorrow's class we will continue for rest of. Okay.